Good evening, everybody. Billy O here for another edition of Huns History. Tonight, we're talking to Huns legend Carl Dahlberg. Carl, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Bill. How are you by yourself?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
You got some guitars there in the corner. You been jamming on lockdown?
No, they're just for their show. That's it.
Well, let's get to the questions then. I won't ask you to play a ditty.
Yeah.
Just because some of these young guys don't know who you are. When did you play for the Huns?
I started playing right out of college, about '89, and played till early 2000s. So got married in '97 and kind of tailed off after that. So
plus, if I read some of your emails a while back correctly, you ground out everything in both knees, I think.
I did, and now I've got a new knee that really causes a lot of joy when I'm going through TSA, and so we live. Yeah, it's all right.
So I'm asking everybody this because everybody has a slightly different slant on it. But in your mind, away from just the competitiveness, what makes the Huns a special club?
When I joined the club, we were practicing out at the intramural fields, and at UT intramural fields, and my first practice, there were 8 people out there. I was number 8, and 4 of them were Acuñas. So it was, and it was Dave Zach, and I think maybe Don Chandler and one other, and we. And we were going to play either Bay Area or Corpus that weekend, and I was on the traveling squad. I went to one practice, and no, it was Alamo City. Excuse me, it was Alamo City in San Antonio. So we that first practice was 8 players, and I think I got great friendships with every single one of those guys that were out there that night. And every one of them threw me into the dogs that day with Alamo City, and just threw me to the wolves, so to speak. So I think the camaraderie of the team is unstated. I mean, it's been there. Everybody says that. I think it's one of the really great attributes of this sport, but also of the Huns.
Lifelong friendships.
And I have friendships with these guys to this day, and this, we're 30 years back. So I love that about it. But I also, one of the things, and I'm not going to name other team names, but one other certain team in this area, when we were playing against them, they were completely talking. I mean, they were talking really negatively about their players, and we were competing with them on pretty much, any kind of recruitment level you can imagine. And one of the things that were so great about the Huns was that we celebrated with one another, win or lose, and really enjoyed just being around each other, going to nasties, having a good time, and enjoying the sport. And that was number one priority. And you didn't see that with some of the other clubs.
Yeah, it mirrors my experience. That's really great to hear.
Yeah.
The Acuñas, I think one time an entire back line when I played was made up of the Acuña brothers,
Yes.
A real fixture in this club for decades and decades.
Right.
What was your favorite on the field Huns memory and experience?
Too many. I think it may have been getting in a fight with Dave Zach against the UT medical team. No, I'm kidding. He and I did get into a bit of a fisticuff in the end zone at the tri-zone against UT Medical School at one point, which we were best friends. I don't know why that happened, but I think I was angry about something. But we had so many. I think winning. Everybody talks about the '93 championships, the '93 Final Four. but really winning the TRUs that year was it still gives me chills.
But the Final Four was, you represented the Western region in the Final Four in where? Mobile?
In Mobile, yes. But again, back to the TRUs, that was I think it was Bay Area or San Antonio. I can't remember who we played, but we weren't supposed to be there. It was just we were just a ragtag team, and we had a bunch of great guys, loved to party and stuff, and we put effort in and got there. And I remember Pelton was our coach at the time, I think, it was a pretty phenomenal experience. Just the feeling of winning TRUs for the first time, at least in my experience.
Outstanding.
Four was unprecedented. I certainly enjoyed every minute of that, other than the last minute and a half of the semifinal game. But man, we went up against a team from Santa Rosa that year that was superior than us in every single way physically, and we were beating the shit out of them until the last minute, and it didn't come through. Had a great experience. Again, I love all the guys I played with. It was I really enjoyed it, and wish things had turned out differently. But what it did was spawn more opportunities for the Huns going forward. We put our name on the map. We hosted the national championships the next 2 years in Austin at Zilker Park, and brought a lot of money to the city. We made connections with the city. We created opportunities for ourselves from a sponsorship level, and things just kind of took off from there.
Jay Rudd and Terry Adams came out of retirement to be on that team, right?
They did, yes.
That's a pretty awesome.
No idea who they were, because I didn't play with them in the early '80s or anything like that. So it was I didn't know them, and I played loose side prop, so I was behind Terry, and I remember Dave Zach was behind Jay Rudd, and that was a good balance because Jay Rudd was a beast. I mean, just an incredible player, and so it was good from a balance standpoint. It really worked out well. So,
do you have a favorite off the field experience that you can share that's G rated or PG rated, or that you can water down a little bit?
Nope.
Were you at the Nasties the night Dave Zach put his head through the trophy case glass?
I encouraged Dave Zach to put his head down and charge into that trophy case.
So it's really your fault. You're the instigator.
It made me that encouraged him to go forward. And
after all these years, the truth, the rest of the story comes out.
It could be. I don't know. There's so many. I think between the boat parties, the times at Nasties, the post game parties. We went to the Houston tournament one year, and no, I'm gonna leave that there. So it was a lot of great memories. I had a lot of great friendships. I can't say enough about some of the guys. I was talking to Don Chandler tonight over just texting back and forth because I needed to know what kind of cigars I need to be buying and stuff. And,
important things.
Important things, right. And he wanted to know what kind of rye I was drinking tonight. So it was, exchanging great ideas.
Our club it's always blown me away that our club is just a huge amalgamation of characters. I mean,
yes,
extreme characters.
Yes.
If you had to pick one Huns character when you played to kind of just go, oh my God, this guy really set the bar, or maybe set the bar down here. One character, who would that be?
It's Captain Poot.
Why? A lot of guys don't know Captain Poot. He shows up and he's a character. He wears the cape and the cowboy hat, but why?
Poot and I were roommates. So I lived with Poot for year or two, whatever, I can't remember. But he was the personality of the Huns for many years while I was playing.
I heard he was a hell of a sevens player too, particularly.
And that's something you don't see today. That was very prominent back when I played and when you played, was singing after matches.
Yes.
I have today a book of 150 rugby songs somewhere in a box, and Poot knew every single one of those songs. And when we would go to an after match feast with the opposing team, Poot was up there on the table in his cape and his cowboy hat, and he was leading everybody in the song, whether it was Ring a Dang Do or Not the Marrying Kind. You know, that was part of it. And then when I was, this was the early '90s too, so I developed the first Huns website, and I needed some content. And Poot wrote the history of the Huns and history of Nasties, and just completely off. They were. Hey, shut your dog up, please.
My dog's really excited to hear the Poot story.
Yeah. Anyway, Poot's a good old boy. Let me put it that way.
You know, I met Poot for the first time 13 years ago at the first reunion I went back to, and began reconnecting with the Huns. He had his cape on, he had his hat on, he's giving everybody a shot. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And within about 7 minutes, he's your best friend that you've ever had. So crazy guy. Anything else you want to say before we close this installment of Huns history? I
have one regret, and that's that I was not part of building the new Huns pitch. That not part of Kirk Tate's realm and what led up to the, and it's my own fault, but it was I think I am so amazed that what we built in the '90s has evolved into this. We've got
I think we all feel that way, man, that we held things together and built things up. And this group of Huns now in the last however long, led by guys like Kirk and Wheezy and Hansel, is really three sides and a field and everything. But I tell you what, I've got a volunteer opportunity for you, because they're always looking for old boys to mow the field like Forrest Gump. So you can go out there with a cigar, you and Chandler, and some rye.
Okay.
And you can mow. I can put you in touch with people that'll put you to work.
I have some time on my hands, strangely, right now. So it's
Well, to all the old boys out there, these guys are working their butts off, maintaining the fields, and then doing all the behind the scenes things it takes to run the team. You know, Jerry and I and Gallus and Harold Hoffman, a few other old boys are trying to help these kids along. You know, Carl, anybody else that wants to volunteer would be very welcome.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I want to also call out. I am blown away by the efforts of people like Hansel and Scott Constable and Mitch, who have put in so much effort in getting this kids program off the ground. It is phenomenal. And
170 kids this year. It is phenomenal. It's probably one of the best things we do, not just for the kids, but the volunteers are having a ball too. So there's another great volunteer opportunity for anybody. And you don't even have to do it formally. You can just show up on a Saturday and help out.
That's right.
All right, man. Thank you very much for making the time. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our Huns sponsors, Avatar Nutrition. Everybody stay safe. This thing will be over and we'll be playing rugby before you know it. Take it easy, Carl. Huns.
Good night, Huns.